I don't even think I brought the cards I needed, so I'll use the other cards that I have. Lori here with the Goodbye Good Girl Project. I want to welcome you. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, you will also see that I have a show called Empowered Consciousness. And this is the time in history when we have absolutely such a need to come into our power, to come into our empowerment. Um, Women, for sure. For sure, we need this. We've needed it forever. And what's really happening right now is that we have the astrological aspects that are very supportive of us, like the wind at your back kind of a situation, right? And the other thing that's at our back is all of the crap that's going on in our country, in the US, that's just really scary. And so we need to figure out, we need to understand, we need to utilize what our power truly is, because the kind of power that we see all the time is the physical power, the power over instead of the power with. You know, the power over, that's the manipulation, that's the toxic masculine. That's not what we want. And that's not what's going to fix what's going on in our country and our world. It's not going to do it. It's also first and foremost not going to fix what's going on in our own internal world. So empowerment is something far reaching, and it will include things like, for us women, how do we speak up to power? How do we express more of ourselves and not lose our jobs at the same time? How do we deal with the incredible emotions that we have, because we live in a world that men will never see, because they're the ones who are living the entitled situations and we are not. Start by making art for real. Yes, self-expression is massive, massive, and art is so emotional. What kind of art do you do? That's really cool. I do art also. I remember when I was like 10 years old, and I would go to the zoo with a little art class, and we would paint and stuff. And I made this really awesome water painting of a penguin. And then years later, when I started doing different kinds of art, I was like, but I thought you had to go to school to be an artist. It helps you get ideas out. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what that's doing? That's tapping another part of your power. It's tapping your intuition, your inspiration, the things that lie beyond the words that we're so familiar with. Oh my goodness. Uh, okay, I have no idea what's going on. Somebody's getting to me on Zoom, and I don't know what's happening. Okay, I just turned that off. Okay, so yeah, I thought, oh my God, you have to go to school to really be an artist. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You are an artist. You are art. Okay, so as far as empowerment goes, for us women, we have been conditioned, we've been socially programmed, and because we've not simultaneously been given a way to look at it that keeps us a little bit apart from it, so we can see that it's not us, it's not our issues, we get stuck. We get really stuck in things like, ooh, that man in my office who is like, he's physically imposing and he's got that power over thing, and I just feel like cowed and I don't want to say anything because I feel awkward, and we kind of feel like a little girl. I mean, I'm talking about me. Maybe you have a different sort of response, but there are all different kinds of ways that we back off of being adults, adult human beings. And it's not our fault. If you want to watch a movie that when I watched it absolutely broke me, thank God, of the idea that all of the things that made me behave in ways that weren't strong were not actually my issues. They weren't my issues. They were the mental programming. And I'd practiced them for so long that it just became rote. Well, that movie is a 45-minute documentary. And if you hear documentary and you hear boring, don't. It's anything but boring. And it's on YouTube. It's called Killing Us Softly 4, because it was the fourth of all the movies she made. Um, Amazing, amazing. It really shows how, and it's not just women who've been indoctrinated, it's men too. And the dysfunction for both of us, for the men and the women, has to be combated by something that's not done in combat. It's done with allowing alternative empowered behaviors, and they're all feminine. Even for the guys, they're all feminine. It's think about how much you don't allow yourself. Allowing is separate. It is opposite from pushing, right? Pushing relentlessly without giving up, that is the toxic masculine. Allowing, being a doormat, that kind of thing, that's the toxic feminine. We don't want that, right? Yeah, Killing Us Softly 4. It's absolutely, it's just so brilliantly the presentation she put together, Jean Kilbourne, amazing. Oh God, we all need to be authentic. Here's the thing that I'm so aware of is that we can't do it if we just think about it. So if you go to, let me back off of that sentence. What we need to do is experientially step into our power. And when I say experientially, I mean we have to actually do. We have to actually be with the membrane of I can't do that, and then walk through it and go, I can do that. Holy crap, and understand what happened, be able to parse out which parts of it made us feel strong, even though. And we have to be able to be supported in that effort, because just doing it all by ourselves, it's like saying, I know you live on Mars, but I want you to pretend you live on Earth. Well, I've never been to Earth. How can I pretend something I don't know? So we need the experiential. We truly do. Thank you. Thank you for the flowers. I love, the scent of roses is just insane. Love it. Absolutely love it. When it comes to empowerment, it is far bigger than how do we speak up? How do we give ourselves the respect and demand the respect that we should be receiving? That in itself, right? That alone, freaking huge. I mean, that's so big. It's so big. And yet, stepping through it, you would be shocked at how, I was going to say easy, but it's not quite the right word, how quickly you can step through that stuff. I remember I worked with a woman, you would never, ever have known that she had shame going on, and felt like, I mean, she was a teacher in an entrepreneurial class. Um, Thank you. Oh, and thanks for sharing the live. I don't know if I should call you Heidi, but thank you. I don't know if that's actually your name, but it's lovely to have you here. I appreciate you a lot. Um, so I was working with this woman, and she had actually been one of my teachers in an entrepreneurial course. This is maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago or something. And she came up to me after I said what my business name was, which is the Goodbye Good Girl Project, meaning no more following of rules that make me likable. Because my life is not about being likable. My life is about being authentic. Really important distinction. And she came up to me as we were leaving one day and she said, I think I might need your services. And I said, really? Because there was nothing about this incredible woman that you would have thought made her feel awkward. She said, I want to do public speaking. And she says, I have shame. I have shame from my young adulthood that keeps me from going out and doing it. And I said, okay, well, why don't we do like a 12-week meeting once a week, and we will craft a talk, and I will get you on your feet. We're not going to memorize anything. We're going to create something that is totally authentic. It's totally you. And we're going to also work with the different aspects of this speech, because you may decide to write a whole different one after we're done working together. But we're going to work with this one as a way of freeing you from feeling like, I can't, because that's really the base of what keeps us disempowered, is on any level, whether it's personal, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, you name it. That base thing of I can't, or I can't, right? Oh, it can be done, but I couldn't. Anything's possible, but not for me, right? Like the I can't thing is really what stands in stark contrast to when we start to empower ourselves. We start to practice what empowerment looks like, what it feels like, that kind of thing. So we worked together for 6 weeks, and it was so epic in that I said, what do you want to write about? What do you want to talk about? She goes, I would really like to talk about coming out of shame and becoming a really self-expressive person and she said, I've always been a really successful entrepreneur. So, the disempowerment thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not able to, to do things. It just means that it's limiting. And it just depends on how many of the areas that can be limited in you, how much it limits your life. So I was limited most by clinical depression and anxiety. And I actually healed that after like almost 40 years. I healed that 2.5 years ago. And what it taught me, I wasn't aiming to heal it. I really wasn't. I was trying to stay alive. And so I was trying something. And I have fleshed it out since then. And it's something I give workshops on and teach about, called the 1% solution. And it's very feminine based. It's very feminine power based, because it's about allowing, and it's about self-awareness, and it's about emotion, and it's about unkinking the mental hose so we're not stuck in that social programming, that paradigm that we feel like it's unshiftable. We feel like the world we live in, we have to either adapt to it or fight it. We never imagine that we can actually shift it. And that's what I found out in 2022, is that we can literally shift it. It's really awesome. And even though we may go, well, I do know that, as I did, I knew that we can change anything. We can do, be, and have anything. But there's a difference. There's a difference between knowing and knowing, right? It's a different world. It's a different world. And I was on the spiritual path, the personal growth path, the therapy path, all kinds of paths for decades. I was always really working hard to grow, to try to come into more, love of myself and more strength and empowerment and authenticity in myself. And some of the things really helped. But until that middle of the night moment in 2022, I didn't know it this big. Now, does that mean that I can say I want $10 million and I'll get it tomorrow? No, it doesn't. It means that I know the way to shift from the core, not put Band-Aids over my wounds, but actually shift and heal from the core, so that my oneness with abundance, and my oneness with authenticity, my oneness with love, and my oneness with fierceness, and all of that, we all have that oneness. But I know how to shift deeper and deeper and more experientially into allowing it to be the outpouring of my vibration, so that it does exactly what I needed to do. And it's really interesting. I didn't have any, I do contract work on the side, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of work. But something shifted in me within the last, I'm going to say, 4 months, 5 months. And I thought, that's okay. That's fine. I know how to live on a shoestring while I become a famous and helpful and transformational worldwide speaker. I know how to do that. I know how to live on a shoestring. And I also, much more importantly, know how to be happy. I know how to be happy in the meantime. I don't have to wait till I get money in massive amounts to be happy, because it's not about that anymore. And let me tell you, I'm someone who has hamstrung herself over and over and over and over again, thinking, well, I can't do this thing. I'll do this thing, even though I love this thing better. I'll do this thing because it might bring money. And I knew that was the wrong way to go, but I was like so desperate. So I know how to be happy anyway. And about 8 weeks ago, phone rang. It was, oh, here's a job, here's a position. It's a contract position. Okay. And I went in and I was, interviewing, and I'm like, oh God, this place is awful. It smells. It's a place that makes flavors. So imagine every flavor you've ever tasted or smelled in your life in one place, and you'll get a sense of how the scent can be a little bit off-putting. And it's turned out to be, first of all, I wanted the money because of what's going on in our country, and I didn't want to rely on Social Security, obviously, because of what's happening. And I was like, bring on the money, man, so that if the Social Security gets taken from all of us, then at least temporarily, because I think it would be temporary if it did happen, then I will have money to pay rent and stuff like that, and I'll be okay. And I can still work on my worldwide fabulous speaking career and the workshops that I lead and things like that. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, it's turned out to be the best job I've ever had of any job. The people are super nice. I get to leave at 3 in the afternoon. So 8 to 3. Thank you. I'll take it. That wasn't my request. They were like, yeah, please. Yeah, please. Just we don't want you here till 5. Leave at 3. No problem. It doesn't pay a lot, but that's okay. It pays, and I get to squirrel money away. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, but even better than that, way better than that. So I went to a demonstration on Saturday in front of one of the Tesla shops that they're building, which I don't understand because the Tesla stock is falling and all that. But okay. So I went, and who was there but somebody who I worked with? And she told her boss that she'd seen me. Her boss comes up to me today and goes, oh my God, I looked at your website. Holy crap. I need to meet with you. I need to have a strategy session with you. And I'm going, maybe you need me to come into here and have me come give a presentation for the women. And it's manufacturing, so it's very male dominated, right? So allowing in this way, it's like a conscious, intentional allowing of what I resonate with naturally is proving itself. And that's just like, that's empowerment. That's real empowerment. Not to say that being able to stand up and say, yes, no, here's what I think to other people isn't empowerment. It sure is. And it's a tricky one, right? It's really tricky because I've been in places working with men who don't like how self-assured I am. They don't like it. They feel threatened. There have been women that I've worked under, and they've been threatened. There's something about my energy. I see things from a real 360-degree perspective. I think I look from a leadership position. It's just how I see the world. So this was really hard when I was like in my 20s, because somebody would give me an Excel spreadsheet or something and go, here, do this. Or maybe in my 30s, here, do this. And I'd be like, I'll be happy to. Can I just ask you this? Is this going to impact that person who's sitting over there who's working with the same spreadsheet? And they'd get like all ticked off at me and go, just stay in your lane. Just do what we tell you. I never could. I never could. Now, I fell down another disempowerment rabbit hole. I have a thing that I'm now challenging because I want freedom in every way for myself. I love to surprise people and have them be impressed with me. So over the last 8 weeks where I've been at this flavor place, they had me doing some stuff for them, but also they were like, when you've got free time, which I had a lot of it, they said, can you go and take all of these folders and scan them and double check them and put them in the right place on the computer? So I was like, I'm going to get this done faster than anybody you ever saw, and they're going to be so impressed with me. I was talking with my therapist the other day, and thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I'm actually, um, I'm not a normal person. I'm actually, I'm pretty intense and I'm pretty caring. I'm very caring, and um, and I think deep. I'm always going into the deep end of the pool emotionally to figure out how things work and to help women get into their strengths. I lost my train of thought, but I loved that compliment. Thank you very much. I I just I just see things from a leadership perspective of I see it from a feminine perspective actually. And in its own way, leadership is extremely feminine because women and the feminine is all about building community. It's all about that. Maybe normal to you. Yeah, we should get that glass of wine and talk about what normal really means, right? Um, so, um, oh my God, I keep losing my train of thought. It's because I couldn't sleep last night. I kept waking up coughing. I'm like, what the hell? I went to work today and I couldn't remember how to do freaking anything. I'm going, can you remind me? They probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I am a little crazy. So empowerment. I for so long was going, I want to impress people. I want you to think I'm awesome. Because when I was younger, I fell for that bullshit about if you show how great you are at your job, people will appreciate you and they'll promote you. Like I fell for that. And you maybe would if you're a guy, but women, no, no, no. Yeah. Um, so I did get through all of those folders. There's something like 2,000 of them, if not more. And I did get through them within 8 weeks. And the boss is such a cool person that she keeps telling me repeatedly, thank you so much, because I didn't know how much I looked this stuff up, and I always had to get up and go get the folder, and now I just have to go on my computer. And she has said that like 4 times, which is such a mark of leadership. And that's what I was saying is that leadership really is feminine. We're all about building community, making sure everybody's taken care of, that things are working, and I'm talking about the healthy feminine, the divine feminine, not the toxic feminine, because there's the toxic feminine and the toxic masculine. And our whole world has been dominated by the toxic masculine for millennia. And what's happening, in case you're not aware, and even if you are, is that our human race is in a time of evolution. We're in an evolutionary turning. What the hell does that mean, Lori? What are you talking about? Yeah, women do just get more work. Yeah, yeah, we just get more work. It's true. I was saying there's a woman there who is my boss's boss. And I was saying to her something about how when I was entering the workforce, there weren't computers. There were electric typewriters. And I've always been a massively fast typist. Like I type 130 words a minute. And when I was working on an electric, typewriter, that was a little slower. And then it became, computers and laptops and the whole thing, so then it went up to 130, 140. And she was saying something about, oh God, I'm so tired. I wish it were the weekend again. I'm like, yeah, me too. And it's only Monday, so that's pretty pitiful. But what she said was, I just have to stay for so long. I just have to stay for so long. And I said, what's weird? I started into working before there were computers. And we now get at least 4 times as much done in a day as we did when we had no computers. So why the hell do we have the same work hours? She went, oh my God. She's like, oh my God, that's true. Um, the other thing about you mentioned the patriarchy and all of that and the toxic masculine, which, by the way, we've all adopted. We women have adopted it. And to a degree, we, depending on who you are, you either don't know that you've done it or you do know that you've done it and you're like, I can't get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? We hold ourselves to standards that aren't even ours. You know, you hold yourself to a standard of the person on the side of on the billboard, who, by the way, doesn't exist. And you'll see that when you go watch the movie Killing Us Softly 4. You'll be like, okay, what? Yeah, that part especially was what broke me of my, oh my God, there must be something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. It is changing. It is absolutely changing. I would like to see more men be allies, hold other men accountable, ask us questions. I would like men to acknowledge that they don't have a clue what we live and to ask us. And I would like us to make those opportunities available through maybe workshops. I don't know. I never thought of that till this very moment. But, you know, how would they have, when somebody is in the entitled position, how do they know to ask anything? Unless they do hear, they have women in their lives who go, you know what, this is crap. What I'm living is crap. This is awful. Um, yeah, there's the woman who today said to me, oh my God, I need to set up a strategy session with you. And she said her father was a voter for the Orange Menace um, the first time. And she said, I sat down with him and I explained that when I started working, I would walk through the factory and I would be getting catcalled and I'd be getting comments on my chest. And he said, oh my God, I didn't even know. How could you not have told me? And she's like, would I tell my parents that that was going on? She's like, no, I didn't think I should. And so he voted for Kamala. Because she said to him, when you vote for him, you are voting against me and all other women. And he went, I'm so sorry, I understand now. There are guys out there like this, you know, and we've got to find them and engage them, I think. But I know we're all really tired of it being our job to make everybody wake up. I mean, I know we're freaking frustrated and tired. So I say we start with ourselves and understand some basics, like we have taken in the messages and we've made them ours. But this is not to say that we can't disengage from them. The way that I have found to do it is a mental, emotional technique that I call the 1% solution. And it has to do with making tiny shifts mentally, emotionally, while being extremely aware of whether what you're saying to yourself has helped or not helped. And it started being based in Abraham Hicks, if you know Abraham Hicks, who is a channeled collection of beings. And I'm into all that stuff. I have to take a sip of stuff that's bad for you. I didn't get water. So how do we start with ourselves? How do we start changing things? Because God knows I spent, again, decades in personal growth workshops trying to heal myself. And I put that in quotes only because I didn't know what healing was. I kind of assumed that I knew what healing was, but really it was kind of self-abusive, my definition. My definition was like, I have to become kinder. So I thought I was mean. I have to become nicer. So I guess I thought I was mean. I have to become whatever it was. It was always sort of like banging on my own head. It wasn't very nice. And instead, healing comes so much quicker and so much more with such grace and ease from the feminine, and it comes from things that sound like insanity to us because we've never practiced them. So things like just simple, yeah, healing can be really super abusive, Heidi. Yeah. Um, so it's not that the healing itself, it's the healing modalities and the way that they are structured and the way we look at them. There is nothing wrong with us. There's lots wrong with how we think, um, with the culture that we've been indoctrinated into. But there's nothing fundamentally wrong with us. There can't be, and there isn't. Now, I'm saying that as somebody who had clinical depression and anxiety for over 38 years. And trust me, I thought, and I would have sworn to you on a stack of any kind of book you want, that there was a lot wrong with me. The feminine is being kind, kinder. As much, remember, 1% solution, kinder to ourselves. Just a moment of mercy. We hold ourselves to such a ridiculous standard that being kind to ourselves and saying, what do I really want? These are like speaking a language that you've never heard in your life. So of course you don't know it. That's how we've been indoctrinated out of accepting our feminine innate qualities. And that has to stop. That has to stop. We have got to allow ourselves to bring in the feminine that we have joined without meaning to. We've done it so we can survive, but without meaning to, we have joined the masculine social programming chorus, the patriarchal chorus of you are worth less than me. You have to be a certain size to be sexy and desirable, and you have to be a certain age, and you have to be a certain type. And I mean, it feels like being dipped into toxic waters. And I went to workshops forever. Oh yeah, there's the saying, if you feel you aren't sick in this society, you're actually sick. There's the quote that was ascribed to Krishnamurti, an Indian wise person, is that it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. No kidding. Yeah. Brings the question. So what do we do? What can we adjust to? What would health look like for us? And the reason that we're lost is because we have lost track of the feminine. You see, what we've imbibed is the shame and the dismissal. And we've learned the rules of let's not speak up. Let's not share our real feelings. Let's not tell you that you have hurt my feelings. Let's not be real. It doesn't work. Absolutely doesn't work. I have a friend who told me a couple weeks ago that she was just diagnosed with cancer. And while it was in one sense shocking, in another sense it was not. Because she has spent so many years of her life with her family, with her husband and her child, and going through that journey. Just putting up with things, waiting until the day when she would have enough money to go, or waiting until the day when, the waiting until the day of, that is a masculine, that's like a toxic masculine setup. And the guys don't benefit from it either. They just don't. Yeah, they don't benefit. Nobody benefits from this. The thing that makes it look like the guys are is because they benefit, especially the white guys, benefit from it financially. You know, they're in the catbird seat, truly. So what we need to do is start to question, We need to start to hold ourselves to our highest standards. So, what are our highest standards? Well, you tell me, you tell yourself, what are some of the high moral or spiritual or ethical or honest or authentic? What are some of those high beliefs that you have that maybe you strive for and maybe you don't quite get to live them 100%, right? Oh, is it Ray Bradbury? Cool. Um, so what are some of those? Like, um, remember I said my company, the Goodbye Good Girl Project, is because I question everything because I want absolutely truth with a capital T and freedom with the capital F. Um, so I remember when I first got into spirituality and people would say to me, you think too much. Because I was asking question after question after, like, what is faith? What does that mean? What am I having faith in? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I was raised non-religious Jewish. I didn't get it. I'm like, I don't understand. What are you having faith in? I don't get it. Um, and people would say, well, you think too much. Just trust your heart. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? How do I do that? Is there like a rule book? Is there like steps to that? Like, is there a map to my heart? Like, I don't know what that means. And so I went looking. I mean, that's been my spiritual path. I'm good luck to those who associate with me. Well, I hope you're also good luck to you. I hope it's not like you're the flow through where they get the money and you don't. I hope that that's not the situation. Um, what that means is they're resonating with your actual your emotional set point around abundance in that way. That's what that means. Hope that makes sense. We are we are resonant we are resonant vibrational beings. And in this time that we're in of evolution, in which what's been missing is being added in, and that is the feminine. And that is so that when I say the feminine, emotional awareness, emotional honesty, emotional power, um, intuition, inspiration, creativity, the feminine face of leadership, which you know what that is. That's support without it's support with a spine, right? That's the perfect balance. Yeah. Yeah. So what's happening now is all of that needs to come in. We are so unbalanced. I always liken it to a bird with one wing. We've got one toxic masculine wing. We don't even have a divine masculine wing going on. So we're just going in circles, and as we go into more, we're going down. Now, don't be afraid though, because at the bottom of that eye is the place that we pass through that births us. It really is like a birth canal. But we have to do it with the feminine. We have to go with kindness to ourselves. We have to be courageous about stepping into the divine masculine and the divine feminine, telling the truth. Like with that signal gate nonsense. This is the worst thing for our security that's ever happened in the history of our entire country that we know of. Not one freaking person will stand up and go, that was my fault. I did that. And I need to do something different. None of them will do it. That's what life is like without the feminine. And we can't do it anymore. So here we are in this evolutionary time. And women and men have trouble communicating, and black and white have trouble communicating, and on and on and on. But the energy of what's happening right now, I don't know if you've heard this, but this is apparently true. I know very, very little about astrology. I'd like to learn more. Apparently, at this time in our history, our human history, what's going on in the stars, in the sky right now, and it's been going on since November of last year, I believe. This particular collection of planets in the relationship to each other has not happened since the American and French revolutions. Does that give you a little bit of a thought of, huh, I think I understand what's happening in the country. I think I get that this is a breakthrough. Both of these revolutions were complete breaks with what came before. And that's what's happening to us now. Knowing that helps me. Knowing not just that fact, but lots of different parts about that really helps me, because it's really easy to freak out about what's happening. My politics has always been very simple. It has always boiled down to this: are we taking care of everybody, or are we being stupid and saying only my group? That's it. That's my politics. Take care of everybody. Let's get on with it, and let's all have good lives together. I'm learning a lot these days about politics because I have to. I have to. I have to use my voice. I have to be out there. I've been watching a lot of tarot readers who understand politics a lot more than I do, and I'm talking world politics. Um, and what they're saying gives me that feminine side, the vibrational, emotional aspect of things that helps me balance the the real cutting nature of the facts that keep coming out so much, that are so hard to deal with, just so hard to deal with. Um, so there's no question that we have to continue to use our voices, get out there and demonstrate, make phone calls, talk to people, whatever it is that we feel called to do, to come out and say this is not okay with us. But there's another aspect to it too. What we're doing by doing any of that is we're making the bigger shift of coming out of I can't. Somebody else is more accomplished than me. Somebody else knows more than me, so therefore I don't know anything. This is not true. This is not true. You are made of the very energy, and this is physics, by the way. You are made of the energy that creates worlds. That's who you are. How far is that thought from I can't get a job? Yeah, that's about, I don't know, light years apart, right? So our job, and what we're being invited into at this time in our life, is to bridge that, to bring that. Okay, you can either look at it this way, that you're bringing those two together so that the falsehood falls away, or you are starting to lower yourself into the warm bath water of a little bit of kindness towards yourself, that feminine thing, allowing yourself to consider the possibility that maybe there might be a way to be both yourself and assertive, not aggressive necessarily. If you need to be aggressive, right? Like if you're being seriously attacked, you might have to do something about that, right? But start to think beyond the social shoulds and the social programming, because I'm here to tell you, as somebody who does this a lot, you can do this. And this is the time to do this. This is the time to do this. That is what I teach. That is what I talk on. And I've never liked how women have been seen as second-class citizens. I've never liked how women are sexualized constantly. I have never felt comfortable with my position in a world that doesn't have space for me. You know, I'm just such a stubborn cuss that I'm always going, good God, I really need to do things differently. So this is what I'm doing differently, this channel. And I will pull cards, I will do tarot readings, I will do oracle readings, and I really appreciate you being here. Please share this with your friends, and please subscribe. If you're not watching me on YouTube, please subscribe. It's free. And let's get this movement going. We need us. We need us. All right. Lots of love and lots of moxie to you. And I will